Hey everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of This Woman Can. And I am delighted you can join us from wherever you are in the world. Now, my guest this week, if I say to you Carnival, can you guess where she comes from? Yes, if you guessed Trinidad, you'd be right. My guest is Carla Williams-Johnson, media marketing specialist from Trinidad and Tobago. She founded Carli Communications, which offers advertising and marketing advice to entrepreneurs and business owners who are interested in building a business in the real world. And she has been asked to share her knowledge with numerous publications, Forbes, Huffington Post, Buzzfeed, Thrive Global, to name but a few. And not only that, she's been named one of the marketers to follow for 2020, as well as recently been awarded the Best Promotions Company, West Indies, at this year's Media Innovator Awards compiled by Corporate Vision magazine out of the UK. So Carla, welcome to This Woman Can, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy that you spoke about Carnival because I am a Carnival baby. I love it. I love it, love it, love it.
So how did you cope with it? Was it cancelled this year or was it next year?
It's cancelled next year. Please don't bring it up. It's a little bit of a sore point for me right now. Little bit.
So Carla, tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got to where you are today.
Oh my God, it was a rough journey, but an enjoyable journey as well, because we have to be able to appreciate all the things that we learned along the way. And what happened with me is I was working for all these advertising agencies, working on all these big brands. And the one thing that I noticed is that there were a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs out there who needed that advice, they needed that help. And you would see all these coaches, sales reps, consultants advising them on things that really didn't suit them or did give them
Right.
the best returns, right? It
Yeah.
was more for these people to make money rather than helping the client out. And I was like, no, that's not cool. You know, we're working so hard, we're doing what we need to do. These people are spending their hard-earned money for us to tell them what is the best thing to
Yeah.
do. And I was like, Carli, communications needed to happen. You know, it was a seed, that was a seed that was planted. And ever since then, that has been my journey, really helping business owners and entrepreneurs understand what is best for them based on their budget, based on their target, based on the climate that we're in right now,
Yeah.
based on the
Yes.
market. Because marketing is not a one size fits all. It is, everything is different for everyone. And I firmly believe, even if it is that I can't help you, I would love to just direct you to the person that can.
Fabulous. Fabulous. So what motivated you to follow this as a career, follow marketing as a career?
I've always had a passion for marketing and advertising. I've always been weird like that. I remember when I was much, much younger, I would run to the TV when commercials came on. I like to watch commercials. I love to see creative executions. I love to buy magazines just to see how the ads were done.
Yeah.
And I just love how people could just be inspired or motivated just from some pieces of copy or just from an image. You know, I love that. And I
Right. Right.
love the way that people feel, because really when it comes to marketing and advertising, it's not really, you know, they're not buying the product, they're
Yes.
buying the brand, they're buying
Yeah.
emotions, and you have to
Yeah.
make them feel that way. And I've always really loved that. I've always really admired how the big companies do it. And
Yeah.
that's why I'm like, you know, smaller business owners, we need to kind of get on board and understand like this is how you need to market your business.
Yeah, great. I hear that. I hear that. So you moved from corporate to entrepreneurship. So what
Mhm.
have you describe one of the biggest challenges that you faced throughout your career and how you overcame it and the lessons learned?
I think one of my biggest challenges was trusting myself, trusting my gut, trusting my own knowledge, trusting that I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
Somehow, when you're in corporate, you can quote unquote hide behind the
Yes.
big name. But when you're on your own, you have to, like, okay, I have to prove myself and I have to show these people that I can do what I have to do. And people smell that, right? They smell when you're trying to prove yourself, and they take advantage of that because she's good, but she don't know she's good. So let's see
Yeah.
how much we can get out of her. And I had to learn to trust myself. I had to learn that I didn't need to prove myself, that I'm actually very good at what I did.
Yeah.
I'm very good at helping people, and people know that too. I don't need to prove myself to them. So I mean, it's still kind of a work in progress. I mean, it's like a daily struggle every day, but I'm getting better.
Excellent. So, yeah, and you're right. Half the battle is identifying the fact that you know it's there. So when you feel that coming, or you're thinking, you're second guessing yourself, or you're questioning your guts, what sort of how do you overcome it and say, "Shut up, guts. I'm going to do this."
That's literally what I do. I feel it. You see, the thing is, when you know it's coming on, your body tells you,
Yeah.
right? For me, I would start to get my stomach aches. I'll start to get headaches. I feel it when I'm coming on. And if I ignore it too long, I get physically ill. So I've learned to identify it when it's coming on. And I say, you know what? This doesn't make any sense. You just need to do it. This is what you need to do. You're a marketer. You
Yeah.
understand the market. You understand how to promote yourself. You
Yeah.
just need to hit that send button or make that call. You just have to do it. And the good thing about it is, in doing it, it not only builds my confidence, it reinforces that I know what it is that I'm doing, because
Mhm.
good things happen when I do it. I have never gone with my gut and regretted it.
Right.
Never.
Right.
Never.
Right. Right. I love to hear. I love to hear that. Now, one of the things I've been discussing with a few women over the past couple of weeks is all about the positive impact of failure. And it
Mm.
sounds like a bit of an oxymoron. We say, well, how can failure be positive? But it can. So
Exactly.
can you describe or share an example or a time when positive made a failure made a positive difference in your life?
I think it's it's in my very nature to keep trying different things. As a marketer, you put something out there, it didn't really work the way you wanted to work, and we do what we call a postmortem, and we try to figure out, okay, what we did wrong and how to fix it. So I understand that in failure, you learn the lesson. And failure really only happens if you stop trying, as far as I see it. Like, that's ultimate failure, when you stop trying.
Yeah.
But as long as you learn the lesson and you move forward from it, that's where failure can become a stepping stone for greater things.
Yeah.
So for me, I try not to use the word fail or failure. It just has this negative this negative thing to it. I try not to use it too much, but I do recognize when things don't work the way I would have liked it to work. And I mean, let's use COVID.
Yeah.
COVID as a huge example. We all had plans, right? We all had huge plans for
Yeah.
2020. I had huge plans for 2020, and then COVID hit us in March of this year and completely changed my business around. And I had to completely pivot. And I said to myself, you know what I put out there, it's not working. Let me try. And I just went full head on into brand awareness, into PR, into publicity. And I've been featured almost everywhere in the last couple months. Almost everywhere. No joke. I've been to India, Australia, China. I've been across the Caribbean, virtually, of course.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that was because Corona taught me that, okay, what you put out there, it's not working. You need to try something else. I learned the lesson, and I've moved forward, and I'm reaping the rewards of it.
Fabulous, fabulous. Really good example, really good example. So if you, Carla, if you had to start over from scratch, knowing what you know now, what would you do differently?
I wouldn't wait. I would not wait. I would just do it. I am a little bit of a procrastinator. I overthink things. I think most people do. I overthink things, and I waited way too long to make certain moves. And that's not just make certain moves in business, but also to distance myself from certain people who were negative or
Yeah.
didn't belong on my journey. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And I took too long to do certain things. And if I could do it over, once I recognize that something is out of alignment or it's not suited for me, then just move away.
Yeah, yeah, that's excellent, excellent, and all those things you'd say sometimes can actually be signs of maybe lack of confidence in certain areas, or we have this imposter syndrome. And the fact is, we
Mm,
have to keep fighting every day. We
yeah.
recognize it for what it is, and utilize the tools we learn to actually overcome them. So how do you navigate confidence issues?
Oh, that is a good question. One of the things I tend to do is I've actually taken up meditating every single day. Every day without fail, I meditate because that really kind of calms me down, helps me get a little clear on what it is that I have to do. Another thing is that, and I know this is gonna sound crazy, I talk to myself a lot
Okay.
out loud in front of the mirror and be like, Carla, you could do this. Carla, it's not that big a deal. Carla, whatever I have to do.
Yeah.
And also, I lean on my people. I have some really great colleagues that I've came up with that are doing really, really great in their respective industries that understand exactly
Yes.
what I'm going through because they're going through the same thing. And I would lean on them. I don't care if it's like early in the morning, late in the night. We call each other, and we give each other that pep talk and that motivation to keep going and to move on.
Yeah, and that's all about affirmations. I mean, I know you say you talk to yourself, but actually that is a sign of, that is part of using positive affirmations. Talking to yourself and looking at yourself and visualizing where you want to go, what you need to be. So yeah, you're not crazy. You're not crazy. You're not crazy. You're not crazy. So, Carly, you were in the corporate world, and there are
Uh-huh.
lots of women still in the corporate world, and maybe some even embarking entrepreneurship. But let me start with one question here: is from a corporate perspective, is what are some strategies you think that can help women achieve more prominence in their role at work?
I think I think I have to think about this a little bit, but I think what happens with women is we have been taught to act a certain way. This whole be seen but not heard thing that we grew up with, and women are afraid to speak up. They're
Mm,
afraid to speak their minds because people are not going to take them seriously, or people are going to bypass them, or they don't want to come across as the angry black woman, or whatever these negative things that these men don't really have to deal
yeah.
with. And I think these are not these things are not real, right?
Mhm.
Because when as the saying goes, silence is consent. So if you don't say anything, you are allowing people to bypass you. You're not allowing your voice to be heard. And sometimes you might have some really great ideas, some really fabulous ideas, or you may be on to something,
Yeah.
and you just need to speak up so people can hear you. And even if they don't take you on or they don't take you seriously, then chances are, once you're 100% correct, which you
Yeah.
are, they will listen later on,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? I was watching a show the other day, and a woman, well, she was in the States, obviously, but she was having that same problem. She was on to something really big, and people ignored her because she was a woman.
Yeah.
And within a week, everything she said came true, and they had to give her props, right? But she couldn't afford to stay quiet. Even if they didn't listen to her then, she could not afford to stay quiet.
So you mentioned the be, and so like I said, it's a bit of a dichotomy there, because you mentioned the be taught to be seen and not heard, but yes, we also need to speak up. So what's maybe one tip you could share for a woman who's saying, look, I know I need to speak up, but I don't really know how to start, how to do that. So what's one tip or one piece of advice you could share with a woman to get her to speak up in the next meeting or something next time?
I say, if you are afraid of speaking up, if you have been drilled that you must be seen and unheard, and you know that is not true,
Mm,
practice talking to yourself in the mirror. Practice what it is that you're going to say, so
yes.
that if anyone comes to you with anything else, or because they will, right, or they will say something to try to throw you off your game, you'll be able to know how to answer them, and then you'll have the confidence to answer them as well.
Yeah.
So practice, practice, practice.
That's a good
Be
tip.
like me in front of the mirror. Or practice with a
Yeah.
friend, but really, get into the habit of talking, of speaking up and saying what you mean and saying what's on your mind.
That's a really good piece of advice. It's because once you practice it, often it's a case of we don't speak up because we don't know what to say. But if you've practiced it beforehand, then
Yeah.
you're prepared. You're prepared
You're
to do
prepared
that.
for
To
anything.
do that. You're prepared to do that. Thanks for that. So, Colin, what do you think holds women back from going for their goals then?
I know what holds me back.
Okay, share, do share, do share. You really should walk down that line.
I know.
Yeah.
For me, I think what holds most women back is fear.
Okay.
Fear of missing out, imposter syndrome, analysis paralysis. Like, it's just fear. Everything is in the whole spectrum of fear.
Yeah.
Me personally, I can tell you, I can identify it. It's imposter syndrome. I am seriously wounded where that is concerned, and I'm working on it. But I've seen women, they want everything to be perfect.
Yes.
That is fear, right? A lot of people, they say, well, I have to get this right, or I have to get that right. So they're stuck in strategy. That's analysis
Yeah.
paralysis. They want to
Yeah.
figure everything out. But it all comes from, what will people say? What will people think if I put this out there? What will people think of me? Right? What if I don't make it? But what if I actually do make it? What am I going to do then?
Yes.
So all of these different things, I think, keep women back.
Yeah.
And I am here to say, don't. Don't let it keep you back, because you'll be so upset with yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at yourself and you look at other people and you'll be like, I could be that person if I could just get out of my own way
Mm.
and just do what I need to do.
Fabulous. And you're so right, because what I often tell women, when you're busy over analyzing, searching for perfection, because perfection is subjective, so you're never going to know what perfection actually is.
Mm-hmm.
When you're spending all your time doing that, your colleague, your friend, your competitor has already said, done, bye girl, I'm going to do that, and moved on, and they're ahead of you. So like you say, you're on the outside now watching them, thinking, well, I could have done that. Yes, you could do it. The
Just do
goal is
it.
here to do it. They did it, so you can too. So yes,
Yeah.
it's a really good piece of advice there. Really good piece of advice. So Carla, share with us a success quote or mantra, apart from Carla, I am fantastic in the mirror,
Perfect.
and
Yeah.
that you use, and why it's meaningful to you.
My absolute favorite quote that has gotten me through every single thing that I've been through is from Maya Angelou, when she said, I did then what I knew how to do, and now I know better, I do better. And that is the gospel truth as far as I'm concerned, because you know what you know and you work within that spectrum of doing things. But as you do things, you learn things. You learn what not to do. You know who not to speak to. You know what avenue not to go down, and you also know what you should be doing now, right? And now that you have all of this information and knowledge, now you can do better. You can make the next step. And one thing I realize with people is they tend to beat themselves up. Oh, I should
Mm,
have known this and I should have known that. No, you should not have,
mm,
right? If you've now gone through it for the first time, you really should not have, but you know it now,
mm.
right? We know now.
Yeah.
So let's move forward. And when COVID, after we had our initial lockdown and things were lifted here in Trinidad, that's one of the things I kept preaching to people. We didn't know what was going to happen back in
Yeah.
back in March, sorry. We
Yes.
didn't
Yes.
know. Things were very new. I understand all the anxiety. But now we kind of have an idea of what's going to
Mm,
happen. We know what we need to
mm.
do. Let's just work within the spectrum of things to make things better.
True
We
that.
can't be in the same place that we were, because now
Yeah.
we have more knowledge.
Yeah, yeah, or waiting for it to go back to normal, because
Yeah,
it,
which is not gonna, it's
it's
never gonna happen.
never going to happen. Things too
Never
much
gonna
has
happen.
changed. Too much has changed. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's really good. So, what advice would you give to your teenage self?
What? You know what? And you're gonna laugh at me, right? I would have told my teenage self, don't ever stop being active. Because let me tell you, to get up in the morning to do anything, oh my God. I should have never stopped dancing. I should have never stopped walking. I should have never stopped exercising. Oh, I miss those days.
It's
Those
never
days.
too late. It's never too late.
Oh, okay.
Trust me, I'm an avid cyclist, and I'm a more advanced in years than you are. So I'm an avid cyclist, avid walker. You have to find what works for you. Have to find what works for you.
Yeah, yeah. I used to dance well, professionally, as
Yeah.
well as, I loved it. I loved the whole movement and everything. And I don't know what happened. Life just happened, and I just stopped. And it's so hard to start back. Once you start, I realized once you stop being active or
Yeah.
you stop learning, like going back to school and stuff, when you want to start back, those are the two things that are the hardest, I find. Like that's very difficult. But if I had to go back to, a 16-year-old Carla, I'd be like, your future will thank you. Keep dancing. Keep
Fabulous, fabulous. So, Carla, if you could choose your own mentor, who would it be and why?
That is a very good question. I would choose, I'm kind of in love with Michelle Obama. I
Okay.
kind of love her.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I kind of love how, she stepped out on her own, even though she was the first lady. She did a lot. She spoke up. She helped a lot of people of color just by her very existence and the different things that she tried to do for the youths and stuff like that. And I actually wish one day I could actually meet her. I don't know how possible that would be, especially
out
now.
there, put it out there.
Yeah, I would love to meet her. I really think she is a phenomenal lady, and she had to deal with so much negativity just because of the color of her
Yeah,
skin.
yeah,
And I feel that. I feel because sometimes I feel a certain way because of the color of my skin, which is bad. But she made it okay to love the person you are. And she had what some people would call the highest position that at the time,
yeah.
and she didn't let it affect her. She didn't let it affect her. She just did what she had to do.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. So yes, thank you for that. So we're coming down to our last few questions, but
Sure.
what are the three things, Carla, that you've learned about yourself during your career?
I've learned that not everyone that starts the journey with you
Mm,
is going to remain on the journey with you.
okay,
I learned that the hard way, but it's true.
yeah,
I also learned that you never stop learning.
right,
There's always going to be something that's going to test your knowledge and experience, and you have to prepare as much as possible in terms of reading up about it, asking questions about it, researching it, so that you can make the best possible decision.
right.
And three, I work better when I am not super stressed. And strange enough, the things that de-stress me are meditation and sleep.
Okay,
So yeah, but I try to meditate more because like when I'm super stressed, I sleep for like hours and hours and hours. I was like, that's not productive, Carla. So I would meditate for maybe about an hour and it re-energizes me. And I say, okay, now my mind is clear, I can work.
excellent, excellent. And where would we find you on a Saturday morning at 10 a.m.?
In my bed sleeping, I
Ah,
swear.
there you go. Dedication to sleep, yeah.
That's my sleep day, people. That's my sleep day. Just to get out of my bed on a Saturday morning is very difficult. I don't know how I do it. I have two children. I don't know how I do it. Luckily for me, my two kids, my daughter is turning 20 in a little bit next month or so, and my son is 2.
Right.
So,
Wow,
I
wow,
just
that's a gap.
that's a whole other conversation,
Yeah.
right?
Just when you
So
thought you were free.
yeah. Listen, sometimes we plan and God has like totally different plans for us, and I just go with the flow. But when my son gets up, I'm like, you know what? Somebody take him. My daughter might take him into her room to play or whatever, because I need to sleep. I
Yeah,
need to sleep because I love it. I love sleep.
fantastic, fantastic. So, Carla, what does success feel like to you?
This is gonna sound really corny, but I love to see when other people succeed. I really do. It makes me feel good when my clients get this aha moment, or they start to make money, or they see themselves published in a magazine or an online forum. Like I love that. That makes me feel good. And the more people I help is the more successful I feel I am, because
Right.
I believe everyone here is on this earth to share their gifts, their knowledge, their experience, their talents to help other people do better.
Excellent, excellent. So that was my last question. So, which was great. Were great answers, great answers. But if people, well, penultimate, if people would like to connect with you or like and learn more about what you do, how can they connect with you and find out?
Well, I'm always on social media, so you can check me out on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn at Carli Communications, Carli Communications. You can also check me on my website at www.carlimedia.com. I'm actually also offering free consultations, especially now during COVID, to help people with their strategic marketing and advertising and promotion. So you can feel free when you head to my website to click on the chat with Carli icon and book your free consultation.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So you heard that? Free consultations with Carli, award-winning Carli Communications. Carla, sorry. Thank you so much.
Fine.
Thank you so much for your time today. It was a delight interviewing you.
Yes, thank you for having me. And it's fine if you call me Carli. Everyone does. They do.
Thank you.
It's fine. Thanks so much.